Today might be one of the most comprehensive shows ever, just because there are so many layered, you know, areas of this that are it's just beyond anything I've ever seen. It's fascinating how it is so, dare I say, layered. It's beyond anything I've ever seen. It's fantastic. And in case you've just tuned in, today's theme is very simple: flushing the conspiracy rats. Now look at this purpose. Here's Candace underneath. Let me remove these. You don't need to see this. I don't know what the purpose of this even seems. Those little threads. Anyway, this kind of gives you an idea. These are the co-conspirators. These are those individuals who are not only involved in the direct assassination of Charlie, but those who are involved in cover-ups, those who were dupes, those who might have even inadvertently or negligently were responsible for maintaining a narrative that has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with the reality. And let me say, as I said last night, and I hope you listen to me very carefully, because I thought to myself, I want to do this every now and then. And I want to also start, I don't want to call this a prayer because I don't want to demean prayer. I don't want to just throw it. People have prayers before a football game or before, they bat. And there's something I think I think it's sacrilegious and heretical about that. But what I want you to understand is, before we begin, to recognize something. Call it a prayer, call it a benediction, call it a moment of whatever you want to call it. We are not here to pursue the latest internet trend. This is about trying to find justice for Charlie. This is a serious, probably one of the most important endeavors that we've ever been involved in, ever, that most of us have, at least most on internet. Most of it it's interesting, but this is real McCoy, real hardcore. The amount of attention that is being paid to Hayden Panettiere is interesting. It's very sad. I'm not in any way trying to belittle or disregard the level of her point of her death, but with us, it's nothing. We have a political assassination on TV, and it's just like nothing happened. And one of the reasons interestingly enough, is the fact that we are, to an extent, still gobsmacked over this trailer trash, redneck, low rent, chuffs, churls, boorish Wilsons, pickles et ux, et uxor. I don't know who these people are. The Calicacs, some type of, remember that family where they're all kind of inbred? I don't know what it is. We can't get away from them because it's just too delicious. It's like when you walk in sometimes to a if you've ever been to a Brazilian rodizio and you want to go for the meat, and you walk in and what do? They give you this salad bar. It's like, don't go there. Like, it's tempting. Don't go there. Macaroni salad. Keep going. That's what the Wilsons are. They're this incredible group of folks who are just. Now, to give you an idea, and please, there is no organizational anything to what I'm saying today. None. Oh my God, look at this. I'm Lynn's Warriors today. Well, I'm very proud of that. But let me fix this. Please follow Lynn's Warriors. She just did an interview this morning that was fantastic. And I want to bring that to her. Anyway, she is wonderful. Lynn's Warriors. Also follow her on X at Lynn's_Warriors. Here we go. Get rid of that. I just didn't know that. Okay. Here's something which is interesting. First, I think there must be a part of Candace who must be just enraged by these crowders and these people who infiltrated the sanctity of her home. I can't say that enough. I can't say that enough. When you go to someone's home, I don't care what it is, their dorm room, you owe a degree of respect. This is their. Okay. In fact, my wife always, whenever we go anywhere, she always has to bring a gift. Always. And one time I said, "Why are we doing this?" She looked at me like, "You hayseed? What do you mean, why are we bringing a gift?" You bring a gift. You bring a gift. Our good friend, who was it? Our good friend Insight says, also, it's to set a precedent. Don't insult our. I like this. We'll never know. We'll wonder what it was, but thank you. Don't insult our. In any event, this was something which is very interesting. This was a piece. Now, this is going to be very difficult for you to see, perhaps see. But let me see if I can bring this up to speed because we have a lot of stuff that I think is interesting. And it is from this Crowder, folks. Now, Stephen Crowder, so help me, God, you got to understand myself. I have never thought in my life, I never begrudged anybody. I always said, good. I told you this before. I want the internet to flourish. I want people to flourish. I want more and more and more. So if even Nick Fuentes, well, he's on Rumble, but anyway, but if he's there, if Alex is there, if anybody's there, good. Up to and including the Wilsons, I don't care who you are, because this should be the new area. So Ian Carroll, our good friend, posted this. He says, to literally, no one's surprised, Rachel Wilson doesn't understand why a woman would have concerns about letting a parade of unknown men into her home where her kids are. In fact, Rachel Wilson writes, in fact, there's this piece. Let me look at this photo here, or this clip. It's from Mommy Magic. It says, you choosing to defend wandering into a room full of the toys belonging to the 4 children of a pregnant woman, real Candace Owens, private home, is the creepiest flex I can fathom, especially when you look way too excited to be doing so. You're making little of it. Now, this is apparently this guy, I guess the producer or somebody, this does look, he's at the bottom right, and he's talking to Mr. Crowder. Apparently, he walked in, and I think the word is ostensibly he might have misrepresented himself, or he might have been one of Crowder's crew. So anyway, so Rachel, this is the mother. She's a mother. And I don't want to go into the private life. I don't really care who your parent, husbands, it doesn't make any difference to me. She writes, the female hive mind of the internet has decided that if you are smiling in a garage, because this is apparently the picture that was taken in, I guess, Candace's garage. If you are smiling in a garage that has some kids' toys in this, it makes you a PDF. You know what that means. This is the inevitable result of an entire society of single, childless women with smartphones and too much time on their hands, sick. Do you understand this? Are you following this? This is her take. She's dismissing it. She's dismissing this as what? She's dismissing this as a hive mind. Again, this childless cat women. This is your take. Seriously, look at this fellow on the bottom right. Look at this. Are you kidding me? And I had to respond as follows. I want you to read because I spent a lot of time on this. I said, have you noticed how pickles et ux? Et ux, by the way, UX is short for uxor. In lawsuits, if you sue somebody and their wife, you say like to Pickles Wilson, et ux. If you sue a woman and her husband, it's et vir, V-I-R, for man. Anyway, have you noticed how Pickles et ux make the loudest protestations when the point to be made is the most obvious? They artificially introduce the notion of a hive mind to explain why a woman would feel a twinge of unease when complete strangers traipse through her home. And not just any complete strangers, but those demented to upend her and her immeasurable fame. I'm surprised Candace didn't just terminate the entire event over obvious instances of breach, which would have immediately suspended enforcement of the contract in the first place. She should have just kept the money, but she didn't. These folks just can't play like respectable adults. Candace could have very easily said, you breached it. I believe there was some condition or something, or maybe she had a condition about whom you cannot invite in. But had she could have said, breach, suspend it, I'm keeping the money, get thee out of here. But this is where we are today. This is where we are. And this is people who just spew, forgive me, shit. They don't, and with all due respect to Egesta, this Rachel, I guess her take was, this was some weird atavistic, kind of prehistoric, hoary, preternatural, kind of conditioned, weird, evolutionary hive mind. Wait a minute, what? You've got this creepy guy laughing. You say, look, I'm in Candace's garage. Makes you wonder what he's doing. You know what I mean? Did I just do that? I guess I did. Weird. And George, I understand, check for bugs. And by the way, I would have sanitized that thing. I would have called. I know you don't believe this. I would have picked up the phone and called my local santero, somebody from Santeria, to come in, and I would have had, the smoke, and I would have had a shaman. Isn't that a toilet paper company? Please don't squeeze the shaman. In any event, I would have done that. I would have had an exorcism. I would have fumigated it. This is who these people are. This is who these people are. And again, I don't know the Crowder guy. I mean, I've seen him before, but he's like creepy. It's just booger eating, snot nose, nivelly, weird Eddie. I mean, not Eddie Haskell kids. I'm dating myself, but I mean, just kind of trollish kids with behavior problems. Too much Red Bull, off the meds. Just acting strange, mean. I know that sounds crazy, but I say we're adults. I thought we were adults. These people are into their 40s. I mean, I think 50s, maybe. I don't know. This is the way you are. This is the internet today. This is it. Hey, look at this. Hey, I'm going to sneak in one of my producers. What'd you get? You get any pictures? Yeah, I'm hearing her, huh? I would have really thought, honest to God, do me a favor. You're not going to see any more debates. These debates, we'll talk about this, are a moment. Timmy Poole is trying to do the debates. This is when somebody says, look, I've got nothing to lose. It's a Hail Mary. It's a Doug Flutie. I'm going to invite you over. And it's just, it's not a debate. I've never talked to her. Candace is saying, never again. I can't believe we did. I'll bet you she says, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe. And I believe she said there was somebody who was very nice, but, PBD, look, he's not the brightest, bulb, but he's not a bad guy. And she probably thought, I would think that maybe at this level, maybe working in the biz, because when you're in the biz, you have crews that come and you're just kind of used to it. Well, not anymore. Because there's one thing about mainstream media in the old days, it was professional, it was respectable. It was a different kind of group. Today we have these churls. Stephen Salty says, scum move from Crowder and Pickles, disgrace. Indeed. And Deb Kemp says, thank you for bringing LOL moments into a crazy time. Still love your content. Oh, I would hope so. But this is just really, you see, there's no inner alarm button that these folks feel in terms of their own sense of creepy behavior. You know what I'm saying? There's no alarm button. They don't have anything where you say, I can't do that. I've got my own respectability. What they also do, by the way, here's another one. Going back to Tim Pool. Again, I'm going back and forth. Tim Pool is so desperate. Remember when he said, I don't understand how anybody's suggesting that I met with Bibi Netanyahu. What are you talking about? It's like, schmuck, it's all over the internet. Well, it's behind a paywall. You can get it behind a paywall. It's easy. It's just there. Why are you lying about this? You were and are I'm sorry to say this, a sycophant. You're entitled to do this. I've got great friends of mine. I swear to you, I know you're going to laugh at this, but I've got some great friends of mine who think that Israel could nuke Cleveland. And they'd say, well, you got to get Hamas. And he would say, what does Hamas have to do with Cleveland? I don't know, but whatever they do, I still love the guy. We disagree with that. See, that's one thing. This is where I'm different than most people. If I like you as a person, it's, your opinion. Some of your opinions can be bad. I mean, if you're a vile, true anti-Semite or true racist, true. There's one guy I know who is one guy in my life. I can't even stand. I mean, I feel sick. But it's okay for you to do this, but don't keep changing. So you know what this is? Okay, this is Timmy Pool again. This is the guy from the U2 tribute band. This is the Beanie Boy. This is a picture that he put up, this rendition, obviously, kind of a cartoon, of Trump at the Strait of Hormuz, standing as some colossus, with the light, basically controlling the gateway. And I'm thinking to myself, Pool, even Trump would say, do you know the disaster that this is? You're kissing my ass to the point where I find it offensive. Even I know it's nuts. It's schizophrenic. I don't understand it. How do these people do this? I have said, and I am telling you repeatedly, there is absolutely so much that Trump has said, stuff that he's done, by the way, stuff that he's done specifically now regarding children that are terrific. I'm always going to call it out. Balls and strikes, whatever he does, I'm 100% consistent. I'm not going to change my mind, but I'm not going to tell you that he enjoys, for me, this absolute, whatever he does, I love it. He wouldn't feel that way about me, and I can't blame him. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. Nobody feels like this. Nobody acts like this. It doesn't make any sense. The Strait of Hormuz, what's going on with the Bab el-Mandeb and the Red Sea, is absolutely catastrophic. This was a disaster. We got involved in a war that we had no business being. And everybody told him, Mr. President, this is not anti-Semitic. This is not in any way against Jews or Israel, whatever. But we don't have enough missiles here. We have men and women on ships, women who can't get tampons and sanitary pads and basic hygiene, men and women with broken toilets, terrible food. This is a disgrace. This is a disgrace. And we're sending how many billions? No, it's over. Do I make myself clear? And I'm not going to kiss anybody's ass, and I'm not going to expect your respect in me. I can tell you, listen, what Trump did here is good, and I stand by it. But what he did here is ridiculous. And this Middle East policy is psychotic. It doesn't make sense on any respect. It'll take us 2 to 3 years to get our boutique missiles levels up to speed. So just understand, this is where we are. This is Timmy Pool. This is a guy who just doesn't understand. I mean, honest to God, I've got more on him, but maybe we use them kind of as an example to tell people, listen, understand, you can't change your mind. You don't go on these shows and say, I'm for this, and then you change your mind, then you expect people to forget it. Have you seen the latest picture of Erica? Have you seen this one? You ever seen this one? Okay, ladies, I'm not going to talk about fashion. I'm not going to talk about fashion, but have you seen this one? This, somebody said, saw her at a TP Action or something, TP Action. And this is her latest. Good to see. I don't know. I don't know the context of the speech. I was asking, can somebody tell me about the context of the speech? Okay. Now, I'm just curious because there's always a method, a means of this. Why do you think she looks like this? Why do you think that is? Anybody? Just tell me. What is the feeling? Candace Lionel is like separating the sheep from the goats. People have shown their face. This was the last straw for authentic people. Yes. Also authentic and also consistent. I agree with you. Thank you. What do you think about this? Let me just look at this. And please, I'm not trying to be mean. I don't want to talk about, no. But I'm saying, is this the I'm running the show, I'm the CEO, I'm in charge? What? Now, and the reason why I say this, when Steve Jobs used to do his appearance, people say, why do you think he's wearing that? Why does he wear the jeans and the turtleneck and all that? Why? It was this new thing. People do this. Have you noticed? And I find, by the way, there's no tie business. I was looking at a photo. There's some great lawyers. One is one of the premier, no, one of the premier bankruptcy lawyers. I mean, in the nation, one of the biggest firms. I mean, I'm not gonna mention his name. I'm just checking his thing out, and I'm looking at the firm portraits, and lo and behold, there he is, sitting there with a shirt. His shirt is open, and it was awful. And there was somebody who said, "Hey, this is the image we're trying to do. We're dress down Fridays or something." Why do people do this? But why do we do this? What is her thing now? The hat. I'm in charge. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. Some people can look at this and say, well, this is extremely, I don't think it looks per se not feminine, because I think this is today really anything goes. I think it's just this, it's an uber casual, but I think this is inconsistent with a woman whose position should be to show people I'm in charge of the ship. And I want you to look at me the way you would look at a CEO from, Silicon Valley. That's all. I don't think she has any direction whatsoever. Now, here's another one, too. This is, speaking of Steven Crowder. And again, I say this, I'm not saying it to be gratuitous. I mean it. I don't know. I don't care about these people. There's all kinds of people that are here, and I don't find myself enjoying over everything that they do. Like, did you hear what so and so said? Frankly, I don't really care. Sometimes it's interesting, though. Sometimes it's emblematic. Tinfoil Hat Ms. Dana says, "Will you please promise to send Ian, Carol, Tucker, and Candace a copy of the yanking and banking video? They probably have not seen it." Oh, they've seen it. But thank you. Wasn't that great? Yanking and banking. It is incredible. And this new one, I don't want to play it. Have you seen the Iranian version of the debate? This is the best. Cornell Welch says, that's it. Very odd that she's wearing a stonewashed jeans, especially the soccer mom kind. I don't, again, I don't want to nitpick just for somebody would say, why does she wear a buttoned up? And say, okay, all right, enough. I don't want to read too much into it. But here's something very interesting, though. What I found weird. The Iranian videos are spot on. There's a new one out now about the Friday video, which is just superb. Absolutely superb. Beyond brilliant. I've not seen anything like it. Okay, next topic. I know this is difficult for some, but if you really want to get along in this world today, you might want to do this. You might find somebody who says, you know what? I don't like this person. I don't like what they said about whatever. They might be pro-progressive or pro-leftist or whatever the hell it is. But every now and then they'll say something that makes sense. You cannot believe how this is so gratifying. And Mrs. Ellis told me this. Women and men, but teachers who normally would be, you would think these are leftists. These are that kind of that Park Slope kind of, whatever it is, who are 100% in favor of kids, reintroducing books, watching AI, this ed tech, and all of this. They are superb. People that you would have said, no, we probably disagree. They probably hate Trump and they hate this and maybe they like Mamdani. I don't know. But when it comes to protecting kids, they are spot on. So you see what I'm saying? Don't just dismiss them. Nah, they're lefties. Don't do that. Don't do that. We need all the help we can get. And while we're over here, while we say, you know what, we're not that bad, maybe we can perhaps change their mind. I'm not even sure what I'm changing my mind about. I'm not even sure where I'm going with this. But let me tell you the one that I found, not reluctantly, but I'm very surprised. Her name is Z. Cohen Sanchez. She's fantastic.
Doesn't just have a problem with his pregnant ex-wife.
Let me go this way. First of all, this is somebody, she may look like, oh, she's a young lady. Yeah. She will cut your balls off, this woman. Do not with her, okay? Now listen to what she says about Steven Crowder. And then remember, she's progressive, she's a lefty. Fine. Watch what she says and tell me you don't agree with this.
Well, guys, it looks like Steven Crowder doesn't just have a problem with his pregnant ex-wife. He has a problem with all pregnant women. So let's talk about it. If this is the first time you're seeing me, I'm the largest counter organization to Turning Point USA on the left, so don't forget to follow me. Okay, really quick to catch you up. So just in case you forgot who Steven Crowder is, and you probably have because he's not relevant anymore, it's this random guy who used to go around from college campus to college campus before Charlie Kirk. Just about a year ago, I ruined his career by reminding everybody that he was abusive to his pregnant ex-wife. Because Crowder is too much of a pussy to fight his own battles, he sends his weirdo, creepy producer to try to stop us. Do you think that he would have just gone into the distance, stopped doing politics maybe for a little bit? But no, he decided to hang out with his little friend Tim Pool yesterday and talk shit about one of our creators, David, because David absolutely annihilated Tim Pool on Jubilee.
One of the complaints the producers had was that they kept trying to clip me instead of actually having a conversation, meaning... Like in that clip when I said, are you going to talk about the propensity towards civil war or are you just mad at me? The producers were actually like, guys, stop doing this. You're going up here and just saying F you Tim Pool instead of saying, here's what I think.
Right.
So
like that one, the Jufro kid who came up and was like, your audience is low IQ. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's coming up. He's going ad hominem right away. He should be stuffed in a locker.
And then
Jufro. No, wait. Jufro. And let me just say something. A word. Stop doing the vocals at 1.5 or 1 1/4 speed. Why are you doing this? They speak quickly to begin with anyway. It ruins the context. I don't know why people do that. Z, don't do that. Just give us the thing, whatever. Maybe there might be a reason for that I'm unaware of. The next thing was important to understand is the fact that this guy Crowder, he's Jufro. Does he have to do this? There was a kid, apparently, there was this young man who was debating, whatever this yelling at each other is, Tim Pool, and his left hand, it was either he lost it in an accident, maybe he was born without it. All I know is anybody who goes out in public, I'm very sensitive. Don't refer to the hand. I see it. You see it. Get over it. Don't be a dick and refer to it. Don't. If somebody has a birthmark, if somebody has whatever it is, their weight, Listen to what they're saying. Have the self-respect and courtesy to at least show a gram of humanity by not joking about it. Crowder calls him, says, hey, you mean flipper? You know, listen, you don't understand something. Maybe what we say alone, because I like really, offensive jokes, but not in public. I don't want to hurt people. I can laugh. I got a sick sense of humor. But you see where this is? Crowder is that kid who's troubled. And while we're on this subject, I don't want to bring this up, but if you ever saw where he's yelling at his wife, it is weird. You are violating my boundaries. And I've never seen this before. I don't understand how anybody, a lot of women or any people, it's just my nature, can put up with this bullshit. You've got to see this. This, if ever you want to see what an abusive husband, verbal, looks like, it is seriously, to date, I've never seen this before. It's bad. And I've changed my mind of how that can just wear a woman down. It's like the abused spouse phenomenon where their self-esteem and they need them. And plus maybe you're pregnant. I mean, just imagine the hormonal fugue you're going through, and you've got some boorish bombast, some dastard screaming at you because you've dared to sully or traverse his line of bullying. Is one thing. You want to bully? Go bully some tough guy. Go bully some guy who can tie you in a knot. But to bully some woman that you ostensibly love, the mother of your child, who's, you know what I mean? It's just like, this is so low rent. This is who we're talking about. Not so much Poole, but Crowder. Now look, this, again, you could argue all day. This has nothing to do with your show, and it doesn't. But it goes to show you what we're talking about. It goes to show you. It's like when you see somebody sometimes and you say, hey, so-and-so was arrested for DUI. Well, it's okay. I say, did you see the video? No. And you say, well, I don't think that has anything to do with their, this is a hypothetical. Let's say this, I don't think this has anything to do with the worth of the importance of their show. Did you see the video? No, I didn't see the video. But watch the video. And then you watch it and somebody says, you know who I am? I'm a millionaire. Fuck you. You're not. And you, oh my God. Oh my God. It's not that drunk driving. It's like, this person is nuts. Because remember something. Remember, I'm telling you this. You know how you may have a friend, right? You may have a girlfriend. You may have a guy, not a boyfriend, but a friend you grew up with, a pal, a bud. You don't know what they're like at home. You don't know what they're like sexually. You don't know what gets off your husband. You don't know anything. Anything. Years ago, I didn't mean to, but I kind of walked into a conversation of hearing the ex-wife of a friend of mine discuss in detail. I said, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. I thought, dear God, really? You don't know. You don't know what people are at home. You don't know what people are until you see how they treat their children. You don't know how men are regarding wives, what they think of women. And we are seeing more and more women, people who hate women. Look at Pickles. I don't want to pull an Alan Alda here, but I've never had... I kind of, look, sometimes women are kind of crazy, but secretly I kind of admire their dangerousness. And yeah, some are out of their minds and women will respond to, but I don't start off with the idea that I'm superior to them, because that's not true. There is no, I'm sorry to say this, there's no innate superiority. Oh, some of us may be able to pick things up more than others. I've traversed or spend too much time. Let's go back to Z. Listen to this.
Pro kid who came up and was like, your audience is low IQ. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's coming up. He's going ad hominem right away. Oh, he should be stuffed in a locker.
And then I come to find out that his weird, creepy producer was at the Candace Owens Wilson debate. He was apparently like one of the fact checkers for Wilson. And Candace had been very explicit by saying, do not take pictures in her private home. And this weirdo, creepy man took pictures in her kid's playroom. I guess that his pregnant ex-wife isn't the only one that he's got problems with. Apparently, he doesn't want to respect Candace Owens either. Here's the thing, Steven, since I know you're going to be watching this, if you come for one of our creators, you're coming for all of us. And let me just tell you, that pregnant wife thing was just the tip of the iceberg of what I could say about you. I'm happy to come in for seconds in ruining your career. Want to see more Hope Core like this? Remember to follow me to Unfuck America.
Now, this is a lefty. This is a woman we're supposed to not like because she left, and she's standing up for Candace. Incredible. Valhalla did an awesome job. Stolen Valor Pickles. If I were Pickles, I'd crawl under a rock. Oh, Valhalla's good. He also did that. He also did a great one. Remember that guy, the sheriff of Baghdad, that blowhard bullshit artist. He was always on Sean Ryan. Well, what I like to do is I like to get a Glock and I stick him. Come on, stop it. But remember, if you don't know, one time in high school, I just thought of this. This is so terrible, okay? Somebody remember the old one, kick me? You know what? Remember the old one, kick me? That was, okay. Somebody wrote, this is before, who knows? But this guy's walking around and nobody told him. On the back, it said, I'm sorry, please. It said, my dick stinks. And he walked around all day and nobody told him. And people go, I don't know when he found out. I have no idea. But that's Pickles Wilson. By the way, a friend of mine was driving home one time, it was his birthday. He's at a stoplight and he hears it, beep, beep. It's on Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa. Look at it, beep, beep. He goes, this guy's like this. He says, hey. Thinks nothing of it. Next stoplight. There was all these lights. Beep, beep. What? Here, another one. Waving. This one on, he goes, something's weird. He didn't really think about it, wasn't paying attention. A long day. Pulls into his driveway. And there was no room to get out the regular side. So we had to get out on the passenger side. When he gets out of the passenger side and opens the doors, he has this sign somebody put on his door that said, I'm 45 years old today. He wasn't. I'm gay. I'm lonely. I have no friends. Please honk and wave. I'm miserable. I'm a loser. Something like that. Very well done. And I thought it was one of the funniest stories. Okay. He didn't know it. My friend with the sign on his back, he didn't know it. Pickles Wilson knows it, but doesn't care. It's attention. Most of us say, this is not good attention. I don't want this attention. I don't like this attention. I don't want any more of this attention. Not him. Same thing with his wife. We're doing great. I say, no. If you're a restaurant and it's on all the TV shows about how the health department cited it for, rats or droppings, that's not good. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not good. That makes sense? So not all publicity is good publicity. When they're telling you this guy is a jadrul or this guy is whatever, he doesn't get it. Now, on another realm, again, I'm throwing this stuff at you. God bless Joe Kent. Joe Kent. They asked him, do you think that there might have been any foreign agents, foreign countries, foreign actors involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination? Now, the first part is a little tough to listen to. Joe throws out initials because he's a bureaucrat to an extent. He's been in the military. He knows this stuff. You go, hey, JGTCF, and JCT, JCTC, and the also JTTCCCC. And then JCTC lost jurisdiction to the JCTCCC. And after a while, it just, at least for me, but I kind of know what he's talking about. But wait till he gets to the portion about how his organization, remember, he is tasked with finding out if there's foreign involvement, foreign interference. Listen to Joe Kent.
I'm going to briefly describe the role of the National Counterterrorism Center in the investigation of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So NCTC analysts are a part of every joint terrorism task force throughout the entire country. The JTTFs are typically led by the FBI. NCTC's role within the JTTF is to determine if there is any foreign nexus. So that would be a foreign country, a foreign government, a foreign individual, a foreign company. If there's any foreign connection or nexus to an act of domestic terrorism, like the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So that's what NCTC analysts were doing as part of the JTTF to assist the investigation of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So NCTC analysts were operating at the request of the FBI to determine if there was any kind of foreign connection or foreign nexus to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So
Gotcha.
NCTC is a unique organization within the intelligence community. It's part of the intelligence community. It can see all the operational traffic, all the raw reporting coming from the forward-facing intelligence community, the CIA, the DIA, the NSA, etc. But it can also see the raw operational reporting coming from the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies. And it does this. It has this authority in order to connect the dots. NCTC was formed after 9/11 because of the failures of the CIA and FBI and their inability to communicate prior to 9/11. So NCTC has that unique role. That's why we're part of the JTTF.
Good.
So at the request of the FBI, we were looking to see if there was any kind of foreign nexus or connection to the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Got it.
In very short order, we were told that our services were no longer required, that we no longer had access to the repository the FBI had where all the information on the investigation was being kept. And then the FBI said shortly thereafter they were going to hand over the investigation to the Utah law enforcement. I protested. I disagreed. I thought that we still had a lot more work to do. I still believe that to this day, that we had more leads to run down to determine if there was any kind of foreign connection. I'm not saying there definitively was. I am only saying that we still had more work to do to ensure that we actually did our due diligence to ensure there was no foreign nexus to Charlie Kirk's assassination. A big issue that I have, and I think many others have about the assassination, is that we've been told that there's just a lone gunman that's involved and responsible, and that process is playing out in court. However, there was people that were posting online ahead of Charlie's assassination that he was going to be killed that day in Utah. So that strongly indicates that there were more people involved in the plot to kill Charlie Kirk. So
did you hear this one more time?
Is that we've been told that there's just a lone gunman that's involved and responsible, and that process is playing out in court. However, there was people that were posting online ahead of Charlie's assassination that he was going to be killed that day in Utah. So that strongly indicates that there were more people involved in the plot to kill Charlie Kirk. So I think it's critical that we continue to ask who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. And I'll just close with the Charlie Kirk quote that it is critical that we continue to ask questions because it is the only thing that keeps us free. Thank you, and God bless.
There you go. Now, do I have to explain my title today? Flushing the Conspiracy Rats? Why would FBI say, no, give it to the Utah? Did they turn over the Martin Luther King investigation to the Tennessee, what was it, in Memphis, to the Tennessee authorities? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, on a different level, which is fun but sort of interesting, I think I told you before how one of the many things I'm fascinated about is how people, as you know, handle age. I don't know what. I just, some people, some men, they get to a certain age and they go crazy. Some women go crazy. Some people have to constantly be told you are hot, you are excited, you are sexy, you're virile. Chicks love you. And I want to tell people, women, listen, you're not 25 years old. Women look at you like their grandfather. I mean, unless they've got something, in that department. Get over it, dude. Listen, bud. It's just a reality. Life is like that. Hey, look, you're in the third grade. Don't worry. You're not a kid. Coming up, you're going to be in junior high. Hey, you're in junior high. Good. Then you're in high school. Hey, you went through puberty. Good. Now we're cooking. Now, okay, good. We're in high school. Great. Now you're getting into your 20s. Ooh. Then your 30s. Here we go. And then it's off. You're off and running. Life is always one of these little moments of, I'm into this stage. I'm into looking. Now you're going to look to get married. Now you want to be a father. Now you want to be great, wonderful, terrific. That's great. That's wonderful, fantastic. That's great. Okay, great. Now, to some people, it's the end of everything, and some people just do not know what to do. And I think I might have the other day said something to the effect of this. Of course, this is not important, not critical in the least, but I told you about this one. Remember this? This one was, come on, Nancy Mace, you know you love me. Look at me. I don't let the gray hair, which, by the way, is an act of gray, is you earned it. Hoary, white with age. Not prehistoric, but venerable. Okay, remember this one? We talked about this. It's not critical. It's not nothing wrong with it. You can say whatever you want. You don't have to. It's not against the law. I just think it's one of these. I think it's very, very sad. So I came across this one today, and this review I thought was fantastic because this one lady, I hope she gets her name. I'm sorry, I should have gotten this. But anyway, and I mean that, she brings the Mace thing, but into perspective in terms of what she should have said as an elected official.
Your arms with all my tattoos. I'm just one of.
Let me try it again. This woman, we always miss that first half second, so forgive me. Anyway.
Well, it wouldn't be a Sunday if I wasn't forced to look at Nancy Mace's thirst traps on X first thing in the morning. This is the land of the free, and you have the right to bear arms. Look at my bare arms with all my tattoos. I'm just one of you. Validate me harder, daddy. Who are these pictures for, young lady? I know they're not for us. What's his name? What situationship are you in now? What's his name, Nancy? Weren't you supposed to come out with like the JFK files? Whatever happened to that? Did we learn anything new? You took a whole trip to Texas, went on vacation, interviewed all the survivors, even though they were like 100 years old. And you're like, we're going to find answers. But now you're out here posting thirst traps and some middle-aged, weird divorced mom thing. What's even more wild about this is you were on this whole kick of staunchly like pro-women, right? Trans women aren't women. And yet I totally agree. Okay. But then you come out here and you do this stereotypical desperate woman. But do you know what I love more than just running my mouth about Nancy Mace is like reading the comments of other people running their mouth about Nancy Mace. So let's take a look. The right to bear arms. Look at her bears. This is what AI was made for. I believe this is yours. Attention. You want attention. The memes are great. They're just great. The talent of the people in artificial intelligence is next level. And just so you know, it is almost Ghostbuster season, and I'm very excited about that. I love Ghostbuster season. There is no Nancy, only Zool. My favorite one. I have enough tattoos to know when I see stickers. Girl, you're having a public manic episode. Get some help. All the porn bros applaud you. The rest of us, the civilized world, thinks you're batshit crazy. What a missed opportunity to do something meaningful. A fucking mess. Jesus. We get it. Your midlife crisis took you to a tattoo parlor. Nancy, if you must seek attention from a qualified psychiatrist. You seriously need one or two. How your mom's 3 times divorced best friend looks after she polishes off a box of wine at a girls' night and is ready to make yet another bad decision. And the last but not least, probably my favorite, you're making a strong case for women of never holding positions of power. And he's right. He's right. You are doing the stereotypical pick-me bullshit. You're a goddamn congresswoman. You're a congresswoman, and we're all getting fucked 3 ways from sideways, and you're posting thirst traps. This is disgusting and embarrassing. Like, I'm embarrassed. I hope whatever his name is worth it. You fucking piece of trash.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This, I will tell you this much. Number one, it is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. The statement that was made, the reference that was made, the theme, the idea, I got it. Now you could say it's not important. I can't argue with that. But in that little montage, it was great. There is a brutality that is so good. It's the same stuff that brings us. Then there's Crowder, who's just mean. This is not just mean. This is piquant, poignant, pointed, purposeful. I'm trying to be alliterative here. This is different. This is lampooning on a level that's really good. It's not just making fun of people. No. And you don't make fun of somebody's hair. You don't make fun of somebody's missing hand or handicap. Anyway, I had to share that with you. Sorry for the language, but for you to remove the language is to destroy the meaning of it. Now, let's talk about something. Also, the development of new people. Candace was big before, but Candace is at levels now that Dave Smith, they'd say he's just a comedian. Really? Really? You think George Carlin, Bill Hicks, Dick Gregory, Mort Saul were just comedians? You think Will Rogers? I mean, this is seriously. Do you think they were just comedians? Mark Twain, just comedian? Smith has been absolutely relentless regarding posing and exposing and saying his very important thoughts regarding the massacre, genocide, destruction, whatever you want to call it, whatever word works for you, in Gaza. It's horrible. Horrible. And he's been foremost. Max Blumenthal, others, you know the routine. Listen to this important piece. And also, this is interesting too. I always like to watch reactions. Watch Candace's reaction to this. Her reaction tells you how important what Dave Smith is saying. Watch this.
It's good to have these debates, and it's good kind of for people to see them. Look, this is obviously this is a huge topic. This was the biggest political assassination in modern history, which is weird, modern, I mean, saying like post 60s or whatever. This is like the biggest political assassination in America in me and your lifetimes. It is a thing that, let's just say, huge swaths of the American people are not buying the official story on, and wherever you are on what you think is real, I think certainly we could probably all agree that, well, like, yeah, I'm sorry, like once the FBI.
By the way, I think her reaction is one of the most perfect articulations of how serious and how important his message is. She's listening to this. This is what happens when somebody's listening. Remember, always go out and learn how people react, especially if you want to pick a jury, if you ever want to talk to a witness. Learn how when people are paying attention, when you're making an impact, when somebody likes you, when somebody thinks you're funny, or somebody thinks you're smart, or somebody hates you, notice how they look. Notice what expressions like this are. And notice how important it is, because she's basically countenancing his particular speech by virtue of the solemnity maybe that's a bit too much, that she's addressing and accompanying his particular disquisition on and anent.
I took over this investigation. There's just no credibility from the state. And so nobody trusts anything they say. It's interesting to have these debates and the pushback on them. And I think that, I don't know, I guess one of the things that I was thinking about a lot, but even in the lead up to this debate, was just kind of, which one was one of the things that I think got teased out, which was an interesting thing from my perspective in the debate, is it's like, hey, what is exactly the standard of the burden before people can freely speculate, about like a topic? And like, obviously, okay, we have kind of this standard that I guess since like the Magna Carta or whatever has been the pillar of Western civilization, that, okay, before we deprive someone of their liberty, the standard is like what we call it beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very...
That's critical, and that's criminal. That's a criminal standard, not the civil standard. That's preponderance of the evidence. But go ahead.
Very clunky, weird phrase that is not even clear what, like, how do you go beyond a point of doubt? What exactly does that mean? I guess Agreed. It means like there essentially is no doubt, although there always is some degree of doubt. But anyway, so we say that's the standard before we imprison someone and take away their freedom.
Criminal.
Now, the standard for, say, you firing someone, like if you suspected someone on your team was stealing from you, okay, I don't know that we don't have the same standard that you say it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt, but certainly we would go like, hey, you don't want to fire someone if they didn't actually steal from you. So like, make sure you're right about that.
Let me tell you something, Ryan. Let me stop right there. This is so critical. I have spent for most of my adult life for 43 years as a lawyer trying to explain to people what that means. Because not only is there reasonable doubt is the criminal burden, but there's proof evident, presumption great, clear and convincing, preponderance of the evidence, prima facie, probable cause, reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion is like the easiest, and the highest is reasonable doubt. But how do you apply that? And when you sit there and say, you know what? I'm sitting here and I think that Alan Dulles, let's assume you're saying this, I think that Alan Dulles killed J. Edgar. People are saying, our good friend Roger Stone believes that it was Lyndon Johnson, it was Mac Wallace. They were responsible. That's their opinion. When does it become, and let's assume we have people who are now alive, when does it traverse the acceptable and go into the oncoming traffic of the unacceptable? If somebody were to say, I think that Erica Kirk is responsible, though I'm not saying that, neither is Candace. But, okay, I think, all right, that's an opinion. But even the opinion gets a little bit. What about if somebody says, no, I'm telling you she did, all right? That's not your opinion, that's a statement of fact. Then you got to ask the question, do you think, and this is the most important, that damaged somebody? See, in the world of defamation, we've completely lost any idea of what damages mean. There are things that you can say when everybody is talking about O.J. Simpson, and you say he killed her. You think your individual statement is so great that in the cacophony and the cascade, the tsunami of negativity, you made a difference. So not only do we have the burden, but we're going to ask yourself, what did Candace Owens do? Now you could argue, well, she's got 6 million people. She's very, very popular. And her word means something. Okay, fair enough. But the point is, we live in a society where we have the First Amendment, and the First Amendment allows us to say anything. And by the way, this New York Times against Sullivan, nobody understands that either. In case you're trying, if the plaintiff in a particular case is a public figure, that person has to show that you, the defendant, showed malice, reckless disregard for the truth, and or knowing that something was false versus mere negligence. What does this mean? Lay people don't understand this. Lawyers talk. And what he's saying right now is absolutely critical.
But I also thought something that was just very interesting to me is like, I said this on my recap the other day, I thought that once Andrew said 75%,
yeah,
I almost went, well, then there's the debate.
Right.
Right.
I mean, if we're only at 75%, then that gives license to a good friend of Charlie Kirk's to be like, well, I'm going to pursue every other theory under the sun.
And that's the part. This is how stupid. This is how fundamental. And I'm going to use the word stupid. He's a Boeotian, a dimwit, a dullard. He's a stupex. He's retarded, whatever it is. If there's one thing you have to do when you're a debater, a blood sport debater, is to understand that when you go in there and you dare veer into that area and you lead with your chin and you say 70%, schmuck, you didn't know this? Of all the things you would think you would never, you would say, you get around it, but you gave a person, you gave a percentage. You gave a percentage. You think he would have said, now listen, what happens going in there? Somebody would say, what happens if Candace asks you flat out? What does he say? He could have said, for example, my problem with Candace is not so much her decision or her solution or her finding or her belief, but how she's going about it. She's distraught. Okay, maybe, you kind of sidestep, the thing. But see, they are 100% correct.
I mean, I just don't like, it's like once we're saying that, what exactly are we saying? Now, again, fine. If you want to say, hey, don't make specific claims unless you have specific proof, that's fine. And we could go over that. But more broadly speaking, I mean, you're at 75%. I don't know exactly where I am, but I know that Joe Kent told me that the investigation was suppressed. So there's 10% right there off the top of my certainty. Right. And so I don't know. I thought that in some ways that debate, which was more meta than the actual debate, was that was an important conversation for Americans to have about all these things.
And that was kind of what I was trying to demonstrate early on. As soon as he said 75%, why does he have a problem with people thinking about what would be to him 25%, right? Why does he have a problem with people stepping outside and saying, I'm looking at the evidence and I'm interpreting it in a different way?
Let me tell you, because Candace, Dave, he is, with all due respect, retarded. I'm sorry, in the best senses of the word. He does not understand this being connected to this. When you take a puzzle and you pull the pieces out and you see the picture remains, how many pieces can you pull out before you realize, I don't know what the hell this thing is? Many people can say, you know what? I'm seeing the connection. It may not be perfect, but I see the connection. I understand where this is going. He doesn't see this. You take a picture of the sky out and Andy's confused and he doesn't get it. And his wife doesn't get it. This is only in America. This guy decides, I'm going to go in there. The memes today are so good. The music, in any event.
And the reason why I knew that he did not watch the preliminary hearing was because he was completely lost on the point that I was trying to make when I said, I can keep explaining this to you, but I can't understand this for you. Where they are at in terms of where he gathered what he perceives to be overwhelming evidence was during the probative hearing. The standard at the probative hearing is you can just look at a piece of evidence and then you can infer what you want. The prosecution is basically doing what Candace Owens is doing on her podcast, right? So the prosecution is looking at a person in a maroon shirt and saying, that looks like Tyler Robinson to me. Because they're both wearing Converse sneakers. He actually said this, lead investigator. They couldn't even connect how the person in the maroon shirt coming up the stairwell was also the person who was coming up the stairwell in the black shirt. They asked that question. How do you know these are actually even the same two people? And he comes back and he says, because they're both wearing Converse. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard for saying.
Stop right there. This is the thing. This is the part. You see what she's doing right now? She reacts the way most of us do. We have this alarm in us. To me, it's an alarm, and it's been going off a lot lately, where you see behavior that is so boorish and so horrible and so terrible, like making fun of somebody, I'm sorry, who doesn't have a hand. That's what you go after? Or Jew-fro? It's like, why are you? This is why people say there's anti-Semitism. this. And I'd be hard pressed to say, well, you may have a point there. But there's this internal, like, this isn't right. Let me tell you something before you forget. Do you know the greatest moment in your child's life? Among the smile, rolling over, lifting your head, all that kind of stuff, is when the kid says, hey, that's not fair. Thank you. The internal regulation tripwire, the circuit breaker for equality, equal protection, fairness, justice, whatever you want to call it. Hey, that's not fair. You gave him a cookie, but not me. Wow. Not that it's wrong. Not that, hey, I want a cookie. But no, it's not fair. If it were fair, okay, maybe. But it's not. Do you understand that level of, it's like when a kid understands humor and absurdity and conflict or, irony, or, you know what I mean? Where you start seeing nerves and brain lobes connect and the interconnectivity of this. And one of the greatest is a sense of justice. That's not fair. And then right and wrong and all that stuff. That's what this is. This is one of the fundamental things that humans do. Dogs don't do this. Animals don't do this. They don't know what fair is. You leave a pork chop on your plate, it's going to grab it. But the kid says, hey, that's not yours. I understand property, ownership, title, trespass, theft. It's not fair. That's what this is about. This is as rudimentarily human as you can imagine.
I'm totally certain that this is, Dave, I'm going to be honest, it could be you coming up the staircase. I don't know. The image is blurry. And
Right.
so if I'm looking at that evidence and I'm saying, I think it's not Tyler Robinson, why is one called a conspiracy theory and the other one called overwhelming evidence just because it's coming out of the mouth of a lead investigator? That's just his opinion, which, by the way, is allowed at this stage of the hearing. I was saying to him, this is Utah's Rule 1102. The judge could not have made this clearer. It was constantly thrown out, and that's why I knew he didn't watch the hearing. He didn't research what that rule meant. Hearsay is just allowed. You can say, I spoke to Bob, and Bob told Cindy that he thinks that that's Tyler Robinson. All of that is permissible. So they're not doing anything wrong, but he couldn't understand what was hypocritical about him constantly calling people conspiracy theorists, demanding further evidence when he was doing the exact same thing by saying, well, I find everything that they did at the probative hearing to be convincing evidence. And I recognized immediately that he did not spend any time watching the hearing. He didn't comprehend. He didn't research anything. And it was going to be a cakewalk. And that was why he wanted to move away from discussing the evidence. I wanted to keep going on and discussing the screwdriver and discussing the towel and all of these elements that I think would have made the debate more interesting for people to listen to. And he was like, no. I just want to move towards questioning you about things you said about Erica Kirk.
Now, I want to tell you something right now. This is one thing that I would love to, not to, but I think Candace would love this. She would love, by the way, Mountain Star says we need litmus tests for levels of understanding. Yeah. Or maybe a mood ring might be good. But that's an excellent point. Candace would love trial law, would love evidence. Evidence is the best. Believe it or not, in law school, some stuff is really boring. Property, contracts are pretty dry. It's admiralty. If you ever get that's like an elective. It's like, the law of the sea. But evidence is great. And you spend weeks, you should go to the history of hearsay and the exceptions. You got to learn the exceptions and reliable hearsay. Reliable hearsay is what 1102 is about. For example, hearsay is the out-of-court statement that is offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. What? Every trial lawyer knows this. Everybody knows this. It is an out-of-court statement being offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It's the weirdest formula. What does that even mean? It's not a court statement. Why is that a problem? It's not sworn to. We don't like that. We hate that. Don't hand me this. I don't know who said this. He could have been flippant. Number two, we don't have demeanor evidence. Well, how did he say this? And then there are things all the time that are For example, here's the biggest, ready for this? Listen to this. Remember this. And I think Candace would love this if she knew this. You know what the number one hearsay rule is? Admission. I did it. What happened? Well, Your Honor, I showed up. The guy had a severed hand in his head. He said, I killed him. Now, we all know that comes in evidence. It's an admission. That's hearsay. It's an out-of-court statement by him, not made under oath, being offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, meaning that what we want is we want that statement to be true, that he killed him. We want that to be true. It's being offered for proof of what the statement says. I'm trying to prove who killed this person. He said, I did it. I'm offering that to prove he did it. If you take that same statement, and if I said, what do you think of Dave Smith? Dave was drunk. He was crazy. You know what he was saying? He said he killed the Lindbergh baby. Now, why am I introducing that statement? It's not, of course, statements, not under oath. To prove that he killed the... No, to prove that he's crazy. How are you offering it? Why are you offering it? Why? So what reliable hearsay is, the 1102 rule, and I'm so glad, I love when people just read the rule. Just read it. It's okay. It's the notion that there's this reliable hearsay, this notion that you can bring up stuff that, like police reports. Police reports are a constant hearsay objection. Here's one for you. When you have a diary, you're testifying, and I say to you, just a minute, pardon me, I spoke with Candace, excuse me, objection, hearsay. What are you doing? My notes. That's hearsay. No, this is hearsay. You know, I don't care who wrote them. It's an out-of-court statement that's being offered. Well, I'm not offering it. Well, you're reading them. There's a way to get around that. Ms. Owens, yes. Do you recall everything that you said that day? Well, not everything. Is there anything that would help you perhaps refresh your recollection? Yes. What? My notes comes in as an exception, but it's hearsay. Police reports, hearsay, but it's an exception. Statements made to a treating physician. I walked in and sorry about this, doc. What happened? I got shot during the armed robbery. Hearsay. Exception. Statements made to a treating physician. Why? Who lies? Reliability. Anyway, I could go on. She would love hearsay. Hearsay. Oh, wait till we get into the best evidence rule in authentication. That really gets good. And you can just stop people dead in their tracks. And how do you take a hearsay statement and make it admissible? Take virtually anything, have somebody scream it, and it comes under the excited utterance exception. What? Take something which is basically hearsay and have them scream it. And why? Because it has indicia of reliability and is trustworthy. Because deep down inside in court, we want everything to come in. So anyway, so during preliminary hearings, also, Candace, violation of probation hearings. Oh, those are the best. VOP hearing, VOP, shoe up, VOPs. Well, he told me that he said that he wasn't going to pay the cost of supervision, and he told his sister-in-law, who told his brother, who told me that he wasn't working at the place that he was supposed to work at, like Your Honor had instructed him to. And wait a minute, he gets this quadruple hearsay. Doesn't matter. Small claims court. Hearsay. Come on. Nobody even shows up. Well, he told me that he said that I told him that the other guy had approved to it. Wait a minute. We got 3 levels, 4 levels. So, Candace, God bless you. I want to talk about one time with you about 403 evidence. And this is evidence whose probative value is outweighed by its tendency to confuse. Evidence is the greatest. And most people, most lawyers, they've never tried a case. They don't know what this means. They kind of know a little bit about it. But this is what gets you in. This is your instruments. Remember in the old days of speakeasies where they would knock on the door, open the door. Who is it? Joe sent me. Nope. That's not Joe. Oh, knock on the door. Same guy. Larry sent me. Nope. Knock on the door. Who is it? Candace sent me. Come on in. Same guy, different code word, different shibboleth. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did think that, and again, I'm not just saying this because you're here. I said this in my debate recap episode that we put out the other day, that I did feel that it once, and this was so early in the debate, but it was almost like a deficit that Andrew never recovered from, was that once he defined overwhelming as just like this very subjective pleasing myself type thing, which I think there should be, like, I'm not saying there's as clear cut a definition for overwhelming, but it's got to be something in the realm of objective evidence, not just.
Now, listen, this is just fantastic stuff. I mean, this is some of the best. Why? Because we learn what happened and we learn about the case by discussing this. It's like the Langdell casebook method in law school. You take a case, you read about the case, and then you learn about all the ancillary subjects by virtue of what happened in this case. It's brilliant. And instead of them just sitting back and saying, ooh, she absolutely positively knows 100% of what she's saying. Now, let me explain something to you. Let me go back again. Another thing, which just cracks me up. Have you been following, I don't know why, Alex Jones and Tim Pool? Okay. For reasons I don't know. I don't know Tim Pool from Adam. I don't know what he is. It's a free country. I hope he makes as much money and again, bolsters the legitimacy of this platform as a means of introduction and the like. Okay. They ask him, did you meet with Bibi Netanyahu? Were you summoned? Were you like called in? Because maybe you were, I don't know, sort of paid for this, or are you I mean, do you understand this? Were you? And that's a big deal. And remember, whenever somebody catches you, tell them, yeah, I did. Of course I did. Why? Is there wrong with it? Yeah, I met with the president. I met with him, met with the president. Yeah, I met with Bibi Netanyahu. So what? A lot of people did. So what? Ronald Reagan did. So what? Whatever the story is. But that's not what he did. He thinks he's slithery. And he wants, this is Timmy Pool, he wants to be something he's not. He wants to be a tough guy more than anything. This guy, steamer trunk, emotional baggage. He always wants to impress upon you, I'm tough, I'm angry, and listen. So one time, he forgot about this because recently he'd been saying, I don't know where you got off, Alex, saying I met with. Again, there's nothing wrong with meeting with Bibi Netanyahu. But apparently, people forgot this.
Here, I got late word that I was invited to a private roundtable meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was under what's called Chatham House rules. For those that are not familiar, this means that you cannot reveal anybody who attended, nor attribute anything to any one individual, as they can deny it, and they would. However, what I love about what the White House is currently doing, when you bring together a bunch of influencers and podcasters who don't know much about journalism culture, whatever you want to call it, not that we respect it tremendously, most people didn't know what Chatham House meant. Oh. So with all due respect, it's funny because they bring us into the Blair House, which is where Netanyahu was staying. And immediately people are walking around with their cameras, their phones up. They actually took our phones from us. And I legit thought they would maintain Chatham House rules, meaning you can't quote the prime minister, you can't quote his officials and the other people who are there.
Now, remember, with all due respect, that's okay. I think it'd be an honor for somebody to say, a couple of years ago, I was walking around cleaning pools or whatever the hell it is. I just picked it out of the sky. Anyway, I don't know whether he cleaned pools. I'm just saying that. But now, one of the most powerful people on the face of the earth wants to meet me. That's pretty heady. But he doesn't deny it. He is offended that people didn't know how they're not supposed to talk about it. how they're not supposed to say or explain about it. You see what I'm saying?
But you can report what was said generally. If you wanted an official quote on a specific matter, you would then ask an official once the meeting was wrapped, and they'd provide you the exact quote. Or they would just say outright, like, we ain't putting our quotes on that one.
Okay, so he was upset about this. Okay, fine. Again, remember, if you're caught, admit it. When you're caught lying about it, it's the cover-up. It's the age-old thing. So recently, Timmy says, guess what? I'm going to now, I want to debate Alex Jones. Go, oh no, Alex, don't do it. No more debates. These debates don't work. There's no such thing as a debate. Don't do it. It's just something goes wrong. You scratch your nose, pick your nose. They'll think you're on drugs. Whatever. Who knows? You'll do, or they'll take you and they'll put you in a music video. It's just not true. Anyway, listen to when he does talk to Alex. Listen how the man who met with Netanyahu. Why? So that Netanyahu could change his mind? No. So that Netanyahu could make sure he continues with his preferred and accepted line of reasoning.
Okay, Alex, I'll debate you. All right. I'm going to take the position that Israel is undue influence in U.S. electoral politics.
By the way, I just want to tell you something. Is he like a teenager? Is he like in a band? What are these guitars? I mean, that's nice. Nothing wrong with that. It's a free country. What image is he saying? I'm just a cool guy. I play the guitar. I'm a bit of a rocker. I'm the edge, hence the cap. I'm sorry.
Okay, Alex, I'll debate you. All right. I'm going to take the position that Israel is undue influence in U.S. electoral politics.
Wait a minute. What?
AIPAC should register under FARA.
What?
They pressured us, forcing our hand into the Iranian war, for which it's undermined our interests, and they're currently undermining our interests in the Middle East. I'll take that position, and then I guess you'll take the pro side, like why you support Israel, I guess.
So I don't understand what, this is kind of sort of where we are. You see what's happening? It's called stay in your lane. You wanted to be everything to everybody. Timmy and Crowder and everybody else. You can opine about this, but you're not making policy. Nobody's listening to you to see, I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what he thinks. The worst thing you can do in this business is to think that I am making headway. Now, Candace, by the way, her worth is, of course, in her particular opinion, but her worth is in the metrics of her audience. See, that's a different story. When you've got so many people who sit there and you can say, I want to bring this to your attention, that's a scary thing. Timmy's under the impression that his opinion is what matters, not his audience, but that people look for him because he is so possessed of this incredible preternatural ability to ferret and to negotiate the various issues anent and regarding the Middle East that people tune in for his belief. All right, enough with that. I find this fascinating. Lionel's rule number, whatever, don't take yourself seriously. I mean, people listen to you, but nobody's quoting you. And if they do, okay, fine, but you're not an elected official. I mean, as much as we, and Candace, by virtue of her incredible numbers, there are still people ignoring her deliberately, and the rest of the world and the country, irrespective, because of this nefarious group of these horrible people, these rats that are trying to just take Charlie and have you say, nothing to see here, never mind. Now, the genius, again, and Candace was speaking of this, the genius of the meme. If there's one thing somebody says, AI, is it good? Is it bad? Well, I'm sure it's got its problems. But it gave us this.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill and you can just keep saying, so what? You take the red pill you learn everything about the Tyler Robinson case.
So what? So what? So what? So what? Positive evidence? So what? So what? When? Appeal to emotion? So what? Burden of proof? So what? So what? So what? So what? Appeal to emotion? So what? Burden of proof? So what? Positive evidence? Positive evidence? Positive evidence? Positive evidence? So what? So what? So what? Appeal to emotion? What? So what?
Wow. Wow.
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop!
This is where forbidden. Absolutely. I had to sort of think, this is where this is. You were entering a new realm, a new dimension, a parallel universe, never before traversed, traipsed upon, walked through, adventured, reviewed, inspected, eyed, never before. You are seeing something that is beyond anything I have ever seen. It's just, I love this. For as horrible as AI can be and everything, this is genius. These are, to be able to just, that is precisely what's happening. So understand something, my friend. Do not think that you are just venturing into some coffee clutch, as people say, or clutch, depending upon where you're from. Don't ever think that this is just a bunch of people just sitting around and talking about. No, this is a level in not only the most important crime that's occurred in I don't know how long, but a review of logic, a review of history, a review of common sense, rational thinking, and the ability to discuss something going on in the news at levels that nobody really thought. When you leave, the one thing I hope is you'll be able to say, I'm thinking so many things now. I have such a different perspective. I never knew I knew this. I never thought about this. Wow, that's complicated. That was interesting. Or maybe I don't think that anymore. Either way, this is the most incredible thing that we can do. People all over the world weighing in and enjoying this particular endeavor. I mean it. This is something which just is a testament to man's genius. It is beautiful. Yes, it's a brave new world. Yes, it's AI, but it's the message. It's not the AI, it's the message. That's like handing somebody, here's a fountain pen, and somebody comes up with a cartoon. These are computer cartoons. In any event, thank you, dear friend. Have a great and a glorious and a wonderful day. Thank you for gracing the portals of this mere show with you being here. I appreciate it immensely. I thank you for that. And I hope and I trust that we'll be able to meet again. And we'll continue later on. Please like this video. Liking is critical. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And I mean that sincerely. It's very, very important. Very, very critical. And also make sure that you are subscribed, because sometimes people are unsubscribed. And tell your friends and think, because we are embarking upon, again, a level, because the I don't want to say anti Candace faction, but the anti, or I guess the pro prosecution, whatever you want to call it, they don't have this. They don't have this. There is no version of what we do. Thank you, my friends. Please follow my beloved, my wife at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. And until we meet each other again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Until we meet again, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over, sue you. Dad.